Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Community Report. I am Dari Ido. Fish farming is one of the fast-growing agricultural sectors in Nigeria, and with the country's growing population exceeding 200 million people, a high demand for fish protein is very likely. So the industry presents a vast economic opportunities for farmers, investors, and entrepreneurs. It is also important to note at this point that Nigeria remains one of Africa's largest consumers of fish, but domestic production still falls short, leading to heavy reliance on imports. To bridge this gap, fish farming has gained significant attention as a means of boosting local production, creating jobs, and enhancing food security. In this episode of the program, we've visited a fish farm run by a couple who, in their space, are helping close this gap by boosting fish production.
Fish farming, also known as aquaculture, is a lucrative business that provides a steady income while contributing to food security. A success in fish farming requires careful planning, proper setup, efficient management, and strategic marketing. And that's what brings us to this farm.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome to Soromdel Fish Farm Plaza at Melegun Town.
Melegun Town.
Yeah,
okay.
in Ogun State. This is where we rear fishes for people from start to finish.
Okay, so Melegun, this is an old village. How did you even get here in the first place?
Yeah, thankfully to our surveyor, immediately we got the notification to leave where we were before in the leased facility. So we started the land search.
Okay, so the surveyor found the place?
Yeah, he did. Initially, I didn't like this place because there were some rules they told us around the community about the land, the river behind our land, that there's a river where the women bathe and the men must not go there. So that got me scared initially. The river is just behind where our lands end.
And it's actually one of the advantages of having a land here because you have to be close to...
Yes, you need to be close to a river because it aids the water supply.
I can see that you've decided on earthen pond here.
Yeah.
So why?
Earthen pond is cost effective. When we were on the leased facility, we used to have concrete pond, 50 dilapidated pond that we actually, resuscitated into 40 thereabout, doing a capacity of 200,000 fishes. Right now on this earthen pond, we are doing 100,000 fishes. Hopefully before the end of 2027, we look at 1 million fishes every quarter, and we have ready off-takers for these fishes. Earthen pond is better.
Okay, so now I can see that you've also labeled each of the ponds.
Yes, we have them labeled. We can't do all the work. We need staff. So when they come, we train them. We need to know the capacity of the pond in terms of the stocking density. How many fishes are supposed to be in a pond? If you even have maybe 10 in your head, there's a day you miss it. But when anything you have written down stays forever, you just move to the labeling. The stock is there. The date that you also stock these fishes, they are there. And because of the topography of this land, there's a way water doesn't flow out by itself compared to some land where they dug earthen pond. So that way we need to constantly change their water by taking it out with a water surface pumping machine. So we need to know the date that we did it last, so that by the time we want to change the next time, we can say, oh, okay, it's 4 days, it's 1 week, it's 1 month. Those things, you can't keep them in your head. I mean, the labeling helps us to take record, proper record keeping.
Then again, you spoke about the river, so it helps the water table and the quality of the water coming in.
If we are not close to a river, it's possible by now all the fishes, we might have lost them because they need water to survive. That is their natural habitat.
So what about the quality of water here?
Yeah, the pH is very good. It's fantastic for juvenile to table size or melange. But if you need to do fries, fingerlings, jumbo, you won't be able to have them survive in this kind of because it's a bit acidic. But juveniles too, table size can thrive.
So it's a lot actually running the fish farm. Is that what you're telling us?
Yes, you need to be you need to be learned, especially if you want to take it from hatchery level to the nursery level, then to the grow out stage. processing. Yeah, you need to. And I'm happy to have learned from International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, popularly known as IITA in Lagos.
Okay.
Just last week, we're in Ibadan for an IITA Youth in Agribusiness conference, where we were able to exhibit our product.
So you need to learn, relearn, and unlearn.
Yes,
so
yes. You know, you just need to keep yourself.
Okay, so now let's talk about the ponds that you have, because I want to believe that you're running on a big expanse of land. But how many ponds do you have altogether for now?
Right now we have 20 ponds on the farm.
So what's the projection eventually?
Yeah, the projection is to have about 2,000 ponds by the end of the 2027, by God's grace. So we want to be able to do 1 million fishes every quarter. Before coming to Melego on the lease facility, I said earlier, we're doing 200,000 capacity on 40 ponds, even though there were 50 there, but we could not finish the repair because the land was converted from agricultural land, due to policies that are enacted but are not sustained, to residential land. So right now on this facility, we do 100,000, half of what we're even doing on the lease facility, because we are still less than 1 year in operation on this land. We look at, by the time we are saying 2-3 years on this facility, we want to be able to do 1 million. And it's possible, it's achievable.
Very possible. So you said you have off-takers already.
Yes, in fact, the fishes are not enough for them, because they actually buy 1 ton every day. And when you talk about 1 ton, you're talking about 1,000 kg of fishes. A pond right now, for what we do now, gives us about 600 to 700 kg. So that means for them to actually uptake a ton, they need to uptake 1 pond and half from another pond. So 20 ponds in less than 15 days, they are done buying.
So how profitable is the business of fishing?
Yes, fish business is very lucrative. If you put in the best management practices, you will be able to see your profit. Right now, what we do on this land is that we do investments. People give us funds to help them rear fishes, because that was even what the business model was designed to be. Okay. They give us funds to rear fishes, and after 6 months we give them back their funds with 20% return on their capital. So for you to give somebody 20%, apparently you would have also seen your own. So it's very profitable.
Funding is another crucial aspect of this business. Funding as a smallholder fish farmer can come from various sources, including government grants, agricultural loan, private investors, and crowdfunding. It is also good to know the best approach to funding your business.
Responding to the owner.
Immediately you move closer to their pond, they can sense it, they can see you, and they are ready for food.
Okay, so let's see. So are these big enough to be sold?
Yes, they are, but they can be bigger than this.
Oh yeah, I know.
In about a month's time.
Okay.
So we have the one we are selling at the moment. They are quite bigger than this. This has an average weight of about 800 grams. So we have fishes that are 1 kg and 1 kg above that we are selling. And everybody loves big things.
Yes, I know. The woman we spoke with earlier was saying, no, we buy big fish. So.
Yeah, so.
But from what I've also gathered, there are people who wouldn't mind to buy this size as well.
Especially when we sell out.
Yeah.
Those ones on.
So how do you get the feeds? Because I've been to a farm where they also kind of generate their own feeds.
Yeah,
the pellets.
Yes, these are pelletized feed, extruded pelletized feed. They are floating feed. If you notice closely, they are floating. So even if they do excess feeding, as the owner, you can always come around and see all that. But if it's sinking feed, it goes directly under the ground. You won't be able to notice it. The only thing you will see that the water becomes polluted. Then you need to change. You need to change it quickly to avoid any loss of fishes.
Okay. Yeah, they're well fed.
Yes.
Okay.
They are good.
Okay, they're good. So I can see this is emptied. What happened here?
Yeah, we actually overstocked this pond because the pond diggers disappointed us.
Okay.
They are supposed to have been here, having, instead of 20 ponds that we have presently, by now we should be reading 40. Okay. But they disappointed, and you can't keep fishes in your room, neither in your wardrobe. So we overstocked this pond. What we could do is just to wait for 1 month, then spread them to
and that brings
pond.
me to my question, because in any line of business, these disappointments are always there as well. So how do you manage, especially people, because that would also go a long way in determining your success in the first place?
Yeah, so one of the ways we manage them is, by also preparing for their own disappointment. You prepare for them. So, like I told you that we are also into hatchery. We need to keep these fishes in water. Although we can stock 3,000 in these ponds, if there's disappointment, you can double it or triple it, but you need to spread them quickly after 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That is why we are spreading them into a new pond and a bigger pond that was dug, I think, sometimes last 2 weeks, as against something that should have been dug maybe months ago.
I mean, for someone like me, if I'm interested in fish farming, I think the very prevalent question has always been, how much do I need? I mean, the startup capital, do I need a lot of money? So talk to us about funding. You already have something going on.
Okay, when you talk about startup capital for fish farming, although it's quite capital intensive, because the feed itself is worth, takes a gulp of the money. For somebody who just wants to rear, let's say about 100 fishes, you don't need so much. You might just be looking at maybe 200,000 naira. You need to get your feed, you need to get your fish seedlings, and I mean the fingerlings or juvenile, depending on the one you are able to buy from the catfish breeders. Then you also need a medium by which you need to raise the fish. The cultural medium, of course, you might not be looking at 18 pond for a start, and you might not be looking for a concrete pond, but you might just be looking at a trampoline or a plastic fish tank.
Those are cheaper options.
Yes, those are cheaper. Or even a broken water tank that you have at home, maybe broken at the base. And even if it's broken at the base, you can still, get somebody to help you fix it. Then you start the business. Gradually, as you scale, then you can start looking for something bigger to, rear more fishes. But right now, what we do on our farm is that we help people to rear fishes. That was our business model. I remember when we were still doing our grills on Okwabaro, people often ask that they love to rear fishes, but they do not have the time, the space, and primarily the expertise around fish farming. However, they would love to make wealth around fish farming, and that was how we designed the business model to accommodate people like that, to help them rear fish from start to harvest, sell out, and then give them back their funds with 20% return at the end of 6 months. That is, if you give me 500,000 naira now to help you rear fish, what you'll be looking at after 6 months is 600,000 naira. The 500,000 naira for the capital, then 100,000 naira for your return on investment. If you choose not to reinvest, you walk away with your capital and your return. And if you choose to reinvest, you have your 100,000 naira with you, and your 500,000 naira is still doing so much for you on the farm. And as many millions as possible you can. And some people are even pond owners. Some people say, oh, 500,000 naira is too small for me. I want to own a pond to myself. I want to have something big. Those ones we give them back 25% return on their capital. With 2 million naira, they have 2.5 billion naira after 6 months. So if you had kept this money to yourself in your bank, it's possible you would have been debited. But you giving it to somebody who you feel you are, you're at peace with in their business, and you've seen some of their performances, you get
So
something good
from
for
what
you.
I've been able to also gather from what you've said, you have a business model and you don't need to start from acquiring a land at every point as well. So you can either key in into a structure like yours that is
Yes,
already in
yes.
place and invest, or even if you want to start small, you can have
Yes,
maybe your
yes. What
small
we
pond.
just do is we do partnership, we do collaboration. Like somebody said at the last exhibition, I said, if you see something working already that you feel is doing well, why not just collaborate with the person, support, and then just sit back? You can't be everywhere. You can't be in fish, you can't be in poultry, you can't be in pig, you can't be in, everywhere in cow. All you need to do is collaborate. Then let your money work for you
Let your money work
and
for
earn
you.
passively.
Fish farming requires constant monitoring to ensure security, optimize feeding schedules, and maintain water quality. Installing a solar-powered CCTV camera can enhance security, monitoring, and farm management, while eliminating dependency on the electrical grid. This is particularly beneficial in rural areas where power supply is unreliable or non-existent.
I'm a broadcast engineer by training and by practice, but I found myself on the farm because my wife is a farmer. So I call myself the assistant fish farmer for Soromidayo Fish Farm Plaza, and I'm happy to do that.
Yes, I can tell that you are quite excited about. So let's first of all talk about some of the few things that we've noticed in the farm. Say, how do you even provide, say, electricity or power the farm? Is it necessary then? How do you do it?
Okay, so because it's a farm environment and the village does not even have electricity present at all. So, and then we realized that we have to charge our phone moving into this because I spend most of my time here on the farm. When I'm off, I'm here on the farm and I need to charge my phone. I need to work on my laptop. So we tapped into the power of the sun. We got solar panels, and then we connected, to an extension, and people are able to charge. And then beyond even the farm workers, charging our phones and our devices, even people, our neighbors around, also come to benefit from that. And I feel like it's a good thing because that means they're constantly moving. There's constant movement, around the farm, which during the day would deter anybody that may be even thinking of intruding. So that's the idea. So it is basically the power of the sun that helps us to be able to charge our little devices, and then we're able to keep moving on.
So then again, we can also see the cameras, the CCTV cameras. So how did this even come about in the first place?
So because of the human nature, you really cannot trust freely. So we thought of what best way could we deploy for security. One option is to hire somebody to stay here all through the night. But what if the person sleeps off? Yeah. So we thought about let's get a camera. It's unmanned. It cannot be compromised. There cannot be a situation where somebody there's a collaboration with another person, and then no. The camera does its job. It sees, and whatever it sees, it records. So even if you're not looking at that moment, you go and you come back to you can go back to events of last 1 hour, last 3 days, in fact last 1 month. You can look at the things that has happened and the camera has captured. So we thought that's a better option for a place like this. Let's put camera. So we got the first one when we first started was just 2 ponds in April of 2024, and then we got one. That one was sufficient to cover the two. So as we expanded, we got the second. As we increased pond size numbers, we got the third one. So that's the way we are going. So as we even increased more in pond capacity, we are going to be deploying more so that everywhere is captured. So the way they are positioned strategically, I would say, is so that wherever anybody is coming in from, there's a camera to look at whoever it is or whatever activity happens on the farm while we're there or while we're not there.
So I mean, it's a different initiative, and it works. Even for me, I think it's a great idea because we've seen thefts. Even in some cases, farmers have said, "Oh, while we're sleeping, someone had actually intruded or invaded the farm, and we've lost certain things." So let's talk about the lighting as well. Of course, I've been to some farms, fish farms as well, like way bigger because of the capacity of the ones that run on cooperatives and so. But again, at night, I don't think anything happens there.
Nothing happens on the farm at night. But you know where there is darkness, evil, evil strives, right? Evil strives in darkness. So one of the important things to do to first of all wade away evil. Evil. I mean theft and all those things is to illuminate. If you illuminate the place, darkness disappears. All those things, they will need to think again before they say, let me come and carry one fish from one pond. No, they will think again because the light is on. Now, there are houses around us, apart from the camera, there are houses around us. You don't know who is by the window looking at you. But if there was no light at all, it becomes easier for somebody to go to that pond and then just creep into the place, parts of it. Because even if you are standing by the window, you will not see. Thankfully, the cameras have night vision. They might see, but
The visibility may not
it's
be.
important for someone to stand there and then see the farm at night. So if you look at the arrangement of the lights, we did in a way that it surrounds the place where we have fish pond currently. So everywhere is illuminated at night, bright enough for anybody standing up there to see who is there on the farm. So there was one day that I didn't know that our manager has told one of the guys to pump water out very early because a customer was coming. So it was around 5 o'clock. I just saw him moving. So I was like, "Bro, what's Friday doing on the farm at this time?" We were not even together. I was out on a job, and then I called. I saw Friday on the farm. What's he doing? And I said, "Oh, like she was the one who told him to go out very early and pump water because the customer was coming." So that's the kind of thing that we are looking out for.
Having a fish farm near a river can be highly beneficial for several reasons. It provides a constant and fresh source of water for the fish farm, ensuring optimal water quality. It also increases oxygen levels, which is essential for fish growth and health. However, careful management is necessary to prevent pollution, overuse, or introduction of invasive species into the natural ecosystem.
But I mean, you can still wear this your own. You say the part today, okay?
More the bush friendly.
Let's prepare for the.
Let's remember.
No, this is not bad. I'm getting ready to eat the bush.
If we need to channel any wastewater,
Okay.
it becomes easier. If we need to take fresh water from that river, it becomes easier for us.
But how is the farm during rainy season? Do you have a problem with that? Have you experienced any heavy?
We have experience. So if you look at this, where we are working now, you see it's higher than even the farm, and there seems to be like a drainage here. So they are deliberately created. We created this was the first one that we did before we bought the extension to the river, right? So we created this dike so that when water overflows from the river, this is our stopper. It stops it, and then it goes all the way to the back. So after we bought, they sold the extension to us to the river, we then extended it forward and said, please, 10 feet from the water, let's do another dike and lay it all the way to the back. So that prevents us from flooding.
Okay.
Fish farming in Nigeria holds great potential for economic growth, employment, and food security, With proper investment in training, infrastructure, and technology, the sector can reduce fish imports and boost local production. Addressing challenges like feed cost, water management, and market access will be key to unlocking the full potential of Nigeria's aquaculture industry.
Coming even from farther place, so it's a continuous water.
And that's our show for today, everyone. If you miss any part of it, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. You can also follow the conversation on our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Thank you very much for watching. I am Dari Ido. See you next time, and bye for now.